everyone. Very excited to be here tonight. I have two absolutely fabulous recipes to share with you. And I want you to think as we're moving through these recipes, there are so many things that you could do. Either one of these recipes can go on a bed of lettuce. The asparagus is great warm. It's also great cold if you served it the first day. Warm, the next day you could use it as a salad as long as you don't overcook the asparagus. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about cooking that asparagus and really getting it to the right temperature so that it's not mushy, although they are cooked. And what do you do when you take it out of the oven so it doesn't continue cooking? So I'm going to get started right away. The first recipe that I'm doing is a lemon balsamic asparagus salad or dish. It's a side dish. It can be a main dish. We're going to take our lemon garlic shrimp recipe and we are going to marry the two of those recipes together. And we're going to have an absolute 5-star meal. So just to show you, to get started, we have, not that many ingredients. If you're not mixing it with the shrimp, you don't need the Parmesan, but I'm using feta cheese so that it will go on feta cheese and then shrimp will go over that. So it's very, very simple. And neither of these cook for very long. The asparagus I cooked for 8 to 9 minutes. And the shrimp I only cook for 6 minutes at 450 degrees. The recipe for the asparagus calls for cooking it 10 to 15 minutes. But when you use the thinner asparagus, you don't need to cook this. So cooking this for 10 to 15 minutes is just way too long. And remember that it continues cooking when you take it out of the oven. So I'll tell you what we actually do about that. Grab my recipe for you. Okay, our ingredients are the baby asparagus, like you see here. We have 4 ounces of mushroom, probably a little bit more. I had 1 pack and I'm showing you a recipe with 1 pound of shrimp. And then I have the second recipe, the shrimp that I've just cooked to show you so you don't have to wait for it to be done cooking. And I'll just left it intact so I could show you what we actually do with it. Then we also have lemon, fresh basil. I have my card here of my garden. The chef garden is my best friend. I wish I could do it. I do one in the winter in my nook, but sometimes it just doesn't stay as good. So I have to replant and everything. But this time of year, there's so many different herbs and things that you could do. And I always am going to my chef's garden and picking everything. And I do buy a chef's garden already done intact from the gardener. I buy 2 of them actually, and then I put them together in a very big container. And it seems like the more they're spread out, the better the more fruitful they are, the more herbs you get harvested from them. You can pick them if they're overgrown. You can pick them and dry them. There's so many different things you can do. I'd love to do a class like this on gardening. If you would like to do a chef's garden and you want to know more about how to do it, I've made so many mistakes over the years, but I feel like I've got it down pretty well. So let us know in the comments if you'd like that. And I can make that one of our classes. We also have garlic. We have our French Pantry traditional balsamic. We also have our French Pantry salts. These are all a celery salt, and they're all infused with different herbs, all from Provence. And the one that we're going to use tonight is, this comes in a set of 5 salts. This one is lemon thyme. Of course, it goes perfect with the shrimp, and it goes perfect with the asparagus. Then we also have the EVU, the extra virgin olive oil, and this is 100% olive oil from France. And if you haven't tried it, you definitely need to. It is the finest, smoothest, luxurious olive oil I've ever had. I think you'll really, really love it. This is a small bottle. We also have a larger bottle. And of course, the traditional balsamic, as I mentioned. And then we have our herb blends. We're using fresh dill and lemon. Just smelling the aroma of this makes me want to eat fish. It smells so good. The second one is the roasted garlic and chive. And you know that the roasted garlic and chive, you can see these large pieces of roasted garlic, and this is truly roasted garlic. These all come from Provence as well. The ingredients in here is garlic, chive, onion, parsley, and red pepper. That's it. There are no fillers, no substitutions, nothing fake. It's all real, fresh, dried herbs. And if you want to learn a little bit more about fresh dried herbs, I check out our blog. I did an entire blog about mixing fresh and dried herbs together. For instance, I'm using the basil tonight, but I'm using it cold. I'm putting it on top of the asparagus salad. And what's nice about that is once you put basil in the oven, and the hot temperatures takes away the flavor. And it's really important to understand that. And that's why I use our rosemary basil thyme along with fresh basil if I'm putting it in the oven. So that's interesting to know. So I'm going to get started right away. The first thing we've done is we prepped our vegetables. We have the mini asparagus right here. I also have picked some of the basil and I chopped this, making a chiffonade. Roasted garlic and chive. We're going to use the zest of one lemon and we're going to use one garlic clove. So I'm going to take the cutting board and show you how we're going to cut the asparagus. So I've already broken off the asparagus, probably about 2.5 inches from the bottom. And you can go through each one and crack them and it will break off where the bitterness stops. But for the recipe, I chose where I was going to do that and I just cut it off. So we're going to start now here. I've already washed these. We're going to cut these into 1-inch pieces. And don't worry, if some of them are longer, it does not matter. I cut them in 1-inch pieces until I get to the very tip because I don't want to break that beautiful tip of the asparagus. So we're just gonna cut these like this. Then we're going to put them into a bowl and mix them up. Some of them are getting away from me. Then what I like to do with the tip, I do the piece before the tip, or maybe a little bit longer, and I leave the tips like this. Why do I do that? Because I want to see those beautiful tips. I am all about presentation and I love things to be beautiful. And if I see someone, I make the salad so you can see that this is just the tip. Yes, that's longer than one inch. If you see any pieces in your salad, this one is a little bit longer, maybe 2 inches. It's okay. And that's going to make your salad just look so beautiful because let's be honest, these are colorful, but they're not that beautiful. So we are going to put these into a bowl. Remember when you scrape, anytime you scrape, well, you can also use your hands. I have just washed my hands before we started. Anytime you scrape, you never want to scrape with the blade. And it drives me crazy when I see people scraping with the blade. And I also find myself doing the exact same thing sometimes, and it is not the correct thing to do. So try not to do that. So we are using 1 pound of asparagus. This is approximately 1 pound. Normally I make a big salad because you can also eat it the next day. So I have some that I've already cooked, but I'm going to show you how we actually mix this up. So we've trimmed the asparagus and I've also chopped I sliced the mushrooms and some of them I chopped. Some that were really thick, I chopped. My goal is this. I didn't want to take an extreme amount of time and make these super fine because they are being mixed with balsamic. I'm not crazy about cold mushrooms. I like mushrooms that are sauteed with onions or put into a recipe, but I don't really like them that much in salad. So I'm very happy that they're mixed with this great dressing that we're going to show you how to use. But right now we're just going to set them aside and we're going to make the dressing that we're going to put on the asparagus. Now I did one batch already and we're going to leave this right here. This is what we have in the And the asparagus we have in the, I'm sorry, in the dressing. So for the dressing, it is, you could do this in the Eco Chop, but if you're not making a double recipe, I don't suggest that because the mini whisk is going to do a better job for this recipe. And the reason it does a better job is that if your Eco Chop, and that's the pole chopper, if it's not full to a certain point where the blade can actually get the liquid to move around to emulsify it, then it's just going to be frustrating. So you're better off for this recipe actually using a crit and the mini whisk, a lifesaver every single day. So we're going to move the asparagus away, and I'm going to put this here so we can start that. What we're going to put in is 1 teaspoon of mustard. And I am using the Herbes de Provence mustard. Fabulous. All of our mustards come from France. And if you make any dressing, even for people that don't like mustard, for some reason, when you put mustard in the dressing, you don't really taste the mustard. You just taste something that has a really good flavor. What the mustard does is it boosts the flavor of every other component, every other ingredient in the dressing. So you definitely want to certainly pay attention to that. We also have a pinch of salt. We're going to use the lemon thyme because that goes right along with what we're doing. I just do two rounds in that, and that is our pepper mill that comes with 5 different, salt mill that comes with 5 different salts. Then we're also going to put in the roasted garlic and chive. And the roasted garlic and chive, we have 1 tablespoon of the roasted garlic and chive. In addition to that, we are going to put in the minced garlic. And I want to show you something about garlic while we're doing this. So how many of you just literally hate peeling the garlic and getting it all over your hands? This is the Bon mat. This is the octagonal Bon mat, but you could use any mat, even the roll pat. And I have these cloves of garlic, fairly large here. Definitely don't look organic. I'm going to show you what happens when you put this on the Bon mat. And I like to do it actually over once. Then just roll it like this with your hand. Look, perfect. All of the skin comes off. I thought I would show you that because it's something that I always do, but I never tell people to do it. And I just cut the end off here. And then I'm going to, well, we actually only need 1 for this recipe and we need a couple for the other recipe. This is the mini chopper. And it's actually a mincer and it is fabulous. You can just roll it on your counter or you can do this. It's a great exercise. So you just keep twisting and turning until you see inside that it looks pretty well chopped. And you want to make sure, don't put your blade in the dishwasher. You just want to rinse it in the sink. Look how gorgeous the minced garlic is. And it's so fast. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our dressing back up here. Take our blade out. I'm going to use the mini offset spatula. Remember what I always say, you don't really need another recipe, but what you do need is the right tools, because if you don't have tools in your kitchen, your food cannot do these things and you will get frustrated, spend a lot of time doing things that may not work out for you. When you have the right tools, it's like night and day difference. And I know that a lot of times people think, well, why did she say that? I use a knife, that's fine. But are you able to get your garlic minced like this? Probably not. If you do it with a knife, it's going to take you a really long time. I'm going to just set this back. I will use that again. The next thing that we want to make sure that we have in here is roasted garlic and chive. We did drizzle of the French Pantry. This olive oil is fabulous. And then we're going to spread the asparagus on the Bon mat. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna grab my tray here because I have some that are ready. But I want you to see this whole effect here. So we're going to take the asparagus. Here we are. This is our bomb mat on the perforated baking sheet. And here we have the asparagus and we've made the dressing. And now we're going to toss some of the dressing in, and we're going to save a little bit on the side. I'm going to toss some of this dressing in here. And we want to make sure that we cover the asparagus well. Smells really good. The one thing that I did fail to put in is the pepper. And I am using today the Vietnam pepper. Here we go. And then I'm going to put in some of the lemon zest. I like to put a little bit in now, and then I'll also put some in later. Get my zester here. So the mini zester, just another great tool. What I love is it really works. Even though it's such a small little tool, an extremely inexpensive tool, it works like total magic. And you want to make sure when you're zesting that you are not getting any of the white. Oh, it smells so good. Between the garlic and this, wow, amazing. So next, I'm going to spread this out on the bon mat. And remember, I said I cooked this for about 9 minutes. And you could eat, if you like your asparagus cooked less, you want them really crunchy, you want to save it for lunch or dinner another day, you want to make it ahead of time, I'd say try 6 or 7 minutes. And if they're not cooked enough for you, you can always cook them a little bit more. You do want them to be fairly even. I do this with my hands because if you do this with your fingers, what I found, especially for something kind of fragile like this, because some of the asparagus is very thin, if you do like you're playing the piano with it, you'll see that things get flattened out a little bit more, which is really very nice. So I'm going to stick this in the top of it. It's at 450 degrees. And then okay, I set the timer for 10 minutes. I will check it at about 8 and see how that's doing. And in the meantime, what I would like to do is take that same bowl, because these are the cooked ones that I have cooked. When you cook them, take them directly from the oven and place the tray directly in your refrigerator or freezer. Freezer is better. Get them cooled down as fast as possible. It's almost like blanching them. And that way they keep their green, real dark green color. And the colder they get at that point, the greener they become. So definitely you want to keep that in mind. Never leave little tidbits of flavor. This flavor was created for these asparagus and they must live together. So you want to make sure that they do. Okay, good. I'm going to stick this in the sink. And on this plate, this is what we'll cook the asparagus on. So we'll make sure that this is all done. I have the mushrooms. I have mixed with a little bit of the dressing as well. They're right here. Whatever dressing you didn't use, you want to definitely mix the mushrooms in. And the mushrooms in the beginning, they don't look like they're absorbing, but while your asparagus cook, you want to put the mushrooms. I like a covered bowl because that way I don't have to worry about making sure everything gets covered and keep going back and stirring it. You just pick up the bowl and shake it a couple times, and that works out perfectly. Grab my recipe again. Sure. Okay. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we've already got the dressing all mixed in here. I'm going to add a little bit more of the lemon zest. You're going to use a total of 1 full lemon. So I'm just zesting this and leave a speck for just the very top of the salad. This is pretty well mixed. Remember, we already have the balsamic, we have everything on here. Now I'm going to plate the salad. So we don't need a mound because we're going to make one ourselves. You can serve this on a bed of romaine lettuce. I love to chop that up. A crunchy lettuce is really good because the asparagus do become a little bit softer, and your lettuce can keep that crunch moving on. Then we are also going to layer the balsamic mushrooms on top of this. So think of it like a cake. This is the frosting. It's the mushrooms. And then you can shave Parmesan cheese, and you would do that with this mini grater and shave that. Looks so beautiful. And then you will put a little bit more of the zest here. And this is just very lemony and really, really good. But I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So pretty much we got that lemon zest. You can see there's a little speck on the back. I want to make sure. I love that because it's handheld and just so simple to use. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to top the mushrooms with some fresh basil. And do know that when you get basil from a plant, you're not going to pick like the very first leaves. You're going to pick whatever is underneath the top. So the middle here has more blooms. So it's safe for me to cut or take these underneath it. I'm going to take 4 of them. No, I've already done this. I do want to show you. So I sprayed my basil earlier today with water so I could just pick and use. So we're going to take it and we're going to roll it. There's 4 leaves here. And then we are going to cut it. And these will give us little ribbons of basil called the chiffonade. So beautiful. And as you cut this, it just smells glorious. And I like to leave them like that. If you want them smaller, you can go across like this and then once across the other way. So we're going to put this on top of the mushrooms. Pick up the rest of this, sprinkle it all over. And then, one of my favorite things is a nice feta cheese. So instead of just doing Parmesan, and I would normally, if I'm doing Parmesan, I would not do feta and Parmesan together. But this is what the recipe calls for. But this is what I do. This is feta cheese. This is Bulgarian feta. If you love tangy, creamy feta that you can actually crumble or not, this is the feta you need. So I am going to take the feta. We don't need forks. You just need fingers. And we're going to crumble the feta on top. We don't want to overdo it. We have lemon dill spice. We have roasted garlic and chive. but we have this beautiful feta. Hey, why not use it, right? We definitely need to use this. And then this is our gorgeous salad. The only other thing that I would do if I was serving the salad on its own, I generally would want a protein with it. We're going to use the shrimp. Or you could also do roasted chicken and have that done while you're preparing the salad. But what I'm going to do right now is I am going to put this aside and I'm going to show you how to make the shrimp because we're going to do that. Lemon garlic shrimp, and we're going to put it on top of our asparagus. The shrimp are so simple. First thing in our prep, we need to mince 3 cloves of garlic. I've already taken the peels off with my Von mat, so you can see these good. I need the blade. We put our little blade in, we dump the garlic in. If your garlic is large like this, you don't want it to get stuck in the blade. So I always do it in half. And then out of the way. Then we just put this little top on here. I put it like that, get it going. And then 20. I count 20 seconds. Sometimes it's tricky. And look how gorgeous this is. It's so finely minced. The last thing I want to do is bite into a big piece of garlic. I don't care for doing that. So we want to have a lot of flavor. So we definitely get our garlic minced very fine. And we're going to use these with our shrimp. I'm going to take, something's telling me the asparagus are done in the oven. Quite a bit of garlic. Don't worry, it's going to taste great. Oh, yeah. It's exactly 9.5 minutes. Just like that. I'm gonna leave them right here and let them cool because I don't want to bother you with me going and putting them in the fridge. So we have the garlic here. We have the shrimp, which are right here. And I do want to show you how these are going to turn out. Aren't they gorgeous? I mean, these are beautiful to serve to anyone, but I'm going to plate them right now so I can use the flexi mat again. I'm going to just pick them up with a scraper very easily. They're gorgeous. And you really don't need to flip these over when you're cooking them. I do suggest to start on the top oven and then finish on the bottom, or start on the bottom and finish on the top. I very rarely cook anything that I'm not moving around the oven. So we're going to make sure we get all of this goodness here. Put that right on the shrimp, and then we're going to pick those up later once I show you how we're going to do this. We're using shrimp again, so don't worry about it. Okay, I have the shrimp. You can use shrimp with the skin on. You could cook them like that, like you would peel and eat shrimp. You could also peel, devein, detail, whatever it is for you. I cheated. I bought them like this. I'm not ashamed. I'm happy because I'm teaching you how to save, how to save some time. And I think that that's the one thing that people really want to do is save some time while they're cooking. Okay, so let's do this. We've already preheated the oven, as you know, which I've left it open. And we're using the flexi mat. It's fabulous for all kinds of things. Vegetables, chicken, cake, any rolls, pumpkin rolls, anything like that. We're going to gently toss the the shrimp and we're going to toss them with a little bit of evu, which I have already put here. Not going to put too much. We're also going to put in the roasted garlic and chive. It's 1.5 tablespoons full of that. Then we're going to put in some, again, of the lemon thyme salt. We are going to put in the garlic. We're also going to use the juice of 1 lemon. And I use 1 now and I use 1 later with the butter sauce. In this, you turn your lemon upside down. Very nice. This is just going to be so great with that garlic and just all of the spices and flavors coming together. We're going to put a little bit of pepper, 6 turns. And then I am going to, and we're going to toss these together. Smells so good. Lovely. So how are we going to cook them? We are going to pick these up and just lay them here. Remember that when you cook shrimp, using a high heat is imperative to having moist, flavorful shrimp. And the reason is, if you cook them quick, they taste better. If you cook them too long, we know what happens. They become very chewy and not very tasty. And you don't need to put these on the grill outside. You can just roast this entire dinner. So if you're out of propane, have no worries. Everything can be all set in no time at all. Of course, it takes me a little bit longer because I'm talking through all of this. But this is a great dinner that you can get ready earlier in the day and then come back to it. You can have your shrimp washed, if you're deveining them, you can do that. Buying them like a cocktail saves you around, it says 5 minutes probably. I think it's more like 10. So I'm all for that. And I'm all for that for you because our whole goal in cooking is helping you create great meals that really save you time. So this is very simple. We have everything combined here. We're going to roast on the middle or top rack, and we're going to roast them for about 6 to 8 minutes. Okay. And just wondering, how many of you generally make shrimp, during the summer months? I just think it's such a fabulous thing to make. And it's something that maybe people eat shrimp cocktail. Your kids will never love eating seafood unless they're introduced to it. And I think that it's something that we have found that introducing the kids to that type of food early is so important because that they learn for life. They learn for life and their palate continues to mature as time goes by. So that to me is a very exciting way to, of course, if your children don't like something, I would never make my kids eat something that they didn't like. But as I continue to explore things around food, I think that they started to become more and more open. When they were very young, I remember making 4 different sauces because somebody didn't like something garlic in it, somebody didn't like mushrooms, somebody didn't like onions. And my mom did it, so I did it too. And now pretty much I just make dinner. And it's great. I mean, I don't have kids at home, but when they come with my grandchildren, they are open and they do try new things. And I really, really love that. I always remember my business partner, Patrice, telling me that at one time when he came to the US, we went out for dinner and he saw all these kids in the restaurant with their iPads on. And he said, I'm so shocked. I cannot believe these children bring their iPad and watch TV while they're supposed to be at the table eating and enjoying the conversation. I said, yes, this is a very American thing. And he told me, he said, you will never, ever find people doing that in France. But also, then we got talking about it. He said, in France, there's no children's menu. There is a menu for everyone to choose from. Kids don't eat chicken nuggets in every restaurant they go to, just like we don't. And I think that if there's something that we could learn as a community, as a population, we should learn how to shift that, because kids won't ever want to try new things until they're fairly old. But if you don't introduce the junk, they don't crave it. And if you don't introduce chicken nuggets at every meal for anyone 6 and under, they'll be eating a lot more nutritious food. Not that chicken is bad, chicken is good, but who knows how those nuggets were made. That's what I always wonder about. So anyway, then there's also a great chicken nugget recipe on the website that if you want to make them fresh, there's some really good ones that I know kids really love, especially the one with coconut. I found that those are really, really good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pretend as if I have taken the shrimp out of the oven. I'm going to bring the salad back. We have also a dressing for this, and this is 1.5 tablespoons of butter. It is 1/2 of a teaspoon of the lemon and dill French Pantry, fabulous, and some salt, pepper, and lemon. So remember that this also gets a little bit more lemon here, or you could do the lemon zest on top. I melted this before we started. It's really nice to do it hot and pour it over hot, but my microwave is not right here, so I don't want to bother you with that. I am going to on here. I am going to take the shrimp, and I am going to put this on top here. Get my tongs. I think tongs are so important too, because they're like that hand that you need when you don't have anything else. And I like to keep them out every time when I'm cooking. You can see that the shrimp always shrink. So remember, if your shrimp are going to shrink, then you don't want a huge amount of asparagus. You just want, I think the shrimp are the superstar here. And then the asparagus is the wonderful surprise with that feta, the lemon, the roasted garlic. It's like everything just coming together so beautifully. Then I would like to decorate just with one side of this. All the way to half. And then I'm going to pick up the gold. I call this the gold. This is the garlic, the roasted garlic, the spices, the salt, the pepper, the beautiful flavor. And put this here. Now, if you like, I did pick some parsley from my chef's garden, and I would like to put some parsley here. And my husband, when he has parsley as a garnish, always eats it. And I love parsley too. So I don't believe there's anything wrong with putting parsley on your food. It tastes so good. So I would just dress this up a little bit here. And I like to do things in odds. So we would just leave 3 there. Then you could chop the rest of the parsley to give it something a little bit fresh. I'll show you how we would do that right now. I'm just going to pull this off. And because we used also the lemon thyme, I am going to take some of the lemon thyme here. I planted the lemon thyme and the rosemary together because they're really good partners in the garden. So we're just gonna take a piece off here. Generally I use scissors. And I'm going to pull back on that. The bad thing is sometimes they're weak. You're better off to use a really sharp knife than your fingers because your fingers do pull the parsley. So I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to put it in the mincer, which still has a little bit of garlic in it. And it's going to be great. So what you do is you just stuff it in here, put it in, and this is a small amount. If I put this in the Eco Chop, it's not enough. Eco Chop needs a little bit more volume in order for that to really work well. Big jobs. So we have the top on, and I'm just going to twist this. And you can see by looking at it, look through the window, you can see already these small little pieces of parsley. It's perfect and so fast. We always want something that is a little bit fresh on top, not just the dried and not just what was cooked with it. This just gives it that little more aroma, flavor, look. And there's one more thing that we're going to do. We're going to take that out of the oven. One moment. Look at these beautiful shrimp. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And I am trying to use my timer. Usually I wear it on me, but now I put it on the, I love having it on the oven door because I'm never looking. Where's the timer? Where's the timer? So we can squeeze a little bit more of that lemon on here. In addition to that, with our green, we're going to zest just a little bit more lemon. And we've got our dinner all ready. My husband's going to be so happy. I love to make seafood this time of year and fish, and he loves that kind of food too. So, and I do too. So we've got our meal all set and ready to go. And these recipes are both on our website. And I think that Eric actually put them in the chat. Who doesn't want some of this? Take a photo for me of this beautiful plate, please. Thank you. Okay, Eric, you have some specials, and have you given them the links to the specials or to the, we are going to have a special, spend $125 and you get the wine and dine set or the family dinner.
Wine and dine set and the dinner time set.
And do they have a choice?
No, they get both, remember?
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
125. Sorry, my I was on mute earlier.
Oh, no, that's okay. No problem at all. I know that everybody's probably real anxious to go out and get some of these beautiful asparagus. Remember that asparagus, generally, I don't know if the season has passed for asparagus. Usually in April, it might be late in your area. It could be in May or it could have passed in March. I'm not sure. Here it's generally in April. So whatever type of asparagus, if you get the larger asparagus, they're perfect too. They hold up really well. And you'll want to cook those for 9 to 12 minutes and just check them. If they're not done, you just want to cook them a little bit longer. Recipe calls for 400 degrees or 425. And I cook these at 425 because I just want to do them quick. I don't want anything to roast for a really long time. And it was quick in and quick out. Anything 9 minutes or less. So I hope you enjoyed this class tonight and this beautiful recipe. I hope that you try it and that your family loves it. But if you do try it, please take a snap of it and post it on our page or on your page and tag Bon Cook. Thanks so much, everyone. Any questions anyone has for anything that we did?
I think we're good with everything.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night and bon appetit.